Hey guys, so this is a really important lesson. It has to do with scales. Now, you've probably seen it, when they give you a map, for example. So here's a big map, and then at the bottom here, they've got something like 1 to 10,000. Okay, this is what we're going to be talking about in this lesson. We're going to be doing quite a few calculations, measuring, all sorts of interesting things. Specifically, we're going to be looking at three different ways that they can ask you this. The first one is they'll give you the scale, and then you need to find the distance, the real world distance. Okay, I'm not going to mention too much of this, it's going to confuse you, but we're going to get to that as we go along. So let's start with part one, where they're going to give us a scale, and then we need to find the real world distance. Now, when I show you the next example, before you try to do anything by yourself, you need to listen to something very important that I need to tell you. My advice is that you don't try to do this by yourself, because what happens is that this 1 to 50,000, I made that up, and that only works based on the exact dimensions and the zoom that I've got on my laptop. So if you watch this on a cell phone or a laptop screen that's different to me, it's not going to work, because you're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure a longer distance or a shorter distance, depending on if you are on a different laptop or if you're on a different, like a cell phone, because you can see that it can zoom up. So for example, if I'm zoomed like that, and I want to measure the distance from there to there, then if I had to zoom in, cool, let's quickly just measure that with a ruler, then it's going to look like it'll be about 5 centimeters. But if I had to then zoom in, then all of a sudden we can see that instead of 5 centimeters, now it's like it's pretty much nearly 6 centimeters. So the zoom has a big impact on all of this. That's why you can't try to do this on your cell phone or on your laptop and expect to get the same answer as me. So my advice is rather just watch how I do it, and then when you are in an exam, or if you have a practice map next to you, whatever they give you in the exam, it'll be the same zoom for everyone. And so then it will work. You're not going to, one of you going to be doing it on your cell phone and the other one on your laptop. No, you're going to have a map in front of you, and the zoom is going to be the same for all of them. Okay? So, yeah, don't try to get the same answer as me. Just watch what I'm doing and make sure you understand. Okay, so we spoke about the zoom. That's really important. Now, determine the straight line distance from Golden Acre to Polverley. By the way, this is actually an area where I live, where I currently live. Maybe when you're watching this in the future, I might be living in like Egypt. I don't know, but who knows? But at this present moment, when I'm recording this, I live in an area called Somerset West and went to a school called Polverley. And so any Polverley learners watching this right now, yep, I went to Polverley. So it says, determine the straight line distance from Golden Acre. Okay, so Golden Acre is over there to Polverley. Okay. So remember there's these little gray dots. That's where you start. Because some of you are like Polverley and you don't know where to start. Do you start in the middle? No, you start at the gray part over there and then the gray part over there. Okay, now they're saying the straight line distance. Okay, so we're just going to go get a ruler and just do a straight line. So let's go get our ruler. Okay, now because my ruler is already on the page, I can zoom now and that won't change anything, because my map and my ruler are both zooming at the same scale. So you see how it's going from 0 to just a little bit more than 4. Now if I zoom in, it still stays like that, because the map and the ruler were already fixed on each other. So by me zooming in, there's not a problem. So I can zoom in just to get a better view. Now, can you see that it's going, you got to look in the middle of the gray circle. So it's about it's between 4.2 and 4.3. So in a test, they'll give you a range that you're allowed to get. But I'm going to say 4.2. Okay, 4.2. But as I said, in a test, they'll give you a range where your answer is allowed to be. Okay, so that is 4.2 centimeters. Okay, so the map length is 4.2 centimeters. So, okay. Now, we need to try to figure out how far is that in real life, because you're definitely not going to walk 4.2 centimeters. I live in this area, and I can tell you that it's probably over a kilometer away. So it's definitely not 4.2 centimeters. Imagine that's how far you walk. That's literally like not even a foot. Like It's tiny. Okay, so obviously that is the map length. That is not the map. That is not the length in real life. So that's where we're going to start using our scale. So what it tells us is that the map, this is your map, and then this is your real life. So it says that a 1 on the map actually means 50,000 in real life. So the real life is much larger. It's 50,000 more. 50,000 times more. So if your map length is 4.2 centimeters, then your real length will be 4.2 multiplied by 50,000, right? Because for every 1, then it's 50,000 times more. So you multiply by 50,000. And that'll give you 210,000 centimeters. Now I should have said here, let's work it out in kilometers. Because, yeah, you're not going to tell someone, hey bro, you want to come to my house? No, it's not far. It's 210,000 centimeters away. I promise you that person's going to think something's wrong with you. It's just a bit weird. Okay, centimeters. Okay, so now we're going to convert. Now, Kevin, how do we convert from centimeters to kilometers? Well, remember, a few chapters ago, we looked at conversions, and we looked at volume, mass, distance. Remember when I showed you that the main lengths or distances that we use is kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. And we said kilometers is always on the left, then this one, then this one, then this one. And what we said is that the numbers in between would be 1,000, then 100, and then 10. And what we've learned is that when you go this way, you multiply. When you go this way, you divide. Remember that? Aha. So what we want to do now is we want to convert the centimeter length into kilometers. Okay? So we're going to go to the left. We're going left. So when you go left, you divide. So we're going to say 210,000 divide by 100. And then divide by 1,000. Remember, you divide by all the numbers that you pass. And so if you had to work this out, you end up with 2.1 kilometers. Now that makes sense. That's, well, I mean, not everyone watching this lives in Somerset West, of course, probably hardly any of you, but, you know, if you're living in a little town, 2.1 kilometers seems about right. Whereas mentioning 210,000 sounds a bit weird, and it wouldn't be this one. This is just your map length. Let's do another example. Okay, so this will be our last example. Remember I said we're going to do a part 1, part 2, and a part 3. Remember in the beginning, let me just show you. We said here, but I'm going to split them up. So part 1 will be this lesson, and then part 2 and part 3 will come up in the future lessons. So here they want us to determine the straight line distance from Helderview. Okay, so Helderview is over there, all the way to Erenvale Estate. Okay, so remember to use the little grey circles. So it's from there to there. So let's go get our ruler. Okay, so I couldn't get the ruler to rotate perfectly, but you can see here that I've got Helderview and then Erenvale Estate. Ideally, I would have wanted my ruler to go through the middle over here, but that's okay. This is just for practice. So I'm going to zoom in now, and if we had to read off the length, it's going to be, so there's 13 and 14, so it's in between. So it's going to be 13.7. 13.7. Make sure you agree with me on that. 13.7. Now that is not the real, that's just on the map. That's just on the map. So map will be 13.7 centimeters. Now we know that 1 on the map is 50,000 times larger in real life. Remember, real life is always bigger than on a map. Maps have to be very small. For example, that could be a house over there, but in real life, that house is really, really big, or much bigger than that. I mean, not even an ant would live that. So what we now do is to get the real, we say 13.7 multiplied by 50,000, and that'll give us 685,000 centimeters. But now we want to give our answer in kilometers. So remember, we have kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. And in between here, we have 1,000, 100, and 10. When you go this way, you multiply. When you go this way, you divide. And so what we'll do is we'll just say 685,000. So we're going from centimeters to kilometers. So we're going to the left, so we will divide, and we'll divide by 100, and then we'll divide by 1,000. So we're going to say divide by 100, and then divide by 1,000, and that'll give us 6.85 kilometers. So there we have it. And then in the next lesson, we will go to part 2, where we modify it a little bit and they ask us something different, and then in part 3 they'll do something a little bit different.